The reason in this module I want you to focus on motivation hygiene theory, SDT, distributed or shared leadership, and from module 3, the mitigating of the dialectic tension between you, the individual, and the orchestra as the collective, is that they are, in my view, all closely related. For instance, each component of SDT, autonomy, competency, and relatedness, equate to hygiene, or the basic needs. Here is a hypothetical example. Starting with what I will call interpersonal dynamics, imagine a rehearsal. In a specific passage, the oboe has a solo, but the violins are drowning them out. Responding from only my perspective, as an individualist, I could ask the violins to play softer or the oboe to play louder. What is missing in this approach, though, is that I would be asking them to do that for me, the individual. What if I shifted the frame and simply asked the violins in that passage to make sure to listen to the oboe for them to determine their dynamic so the oboe solo could be heard? A simple direction such as this accomplishes many things. Firstly, I am asking the violins to lead by them determining their dynamic. This is both sharing my leadership and giving them autonomy. Secondly, I am trusting they will be able to do so. I am trusting their competence. And thirdly, I am asking them to collaborate and support their colleague. This is relatedness. And so the three components of SDT are present to create the intrinsic motivation to attune to the musical needs of the moment. My leadership role as a conductor in this case is equal parts musical and social. This also intersects with hygiene. For the oboists to be able to play expressively and with dynamic range, they need to be able to be both heard and to hear themselves. This is a basic need, just like a solid music stand or adequate stage lighting is hygiene. This is musical hygiene. With the violins now attuned to the needs of the oboe, that hygiene has been established, and the oboists can now motivate themselves to explore all the possibilities in that solo because they know they will be heard. Just as Herzberg defines hygiene as the factors that prevent dissatisfaction, musical hygiene, like the ability for an oboist to hear their own sound, is the baseline requirement that allows for artistic growth to begin and for excellence to be the result. Attentiveness to both physical and musical hygiene is a social skill, and applying these theories only increases your resonance as a leader. Because you are not only trusting the musicians, you are potentially doing something much more powerful. You are solving the dialectic of individualism versus collectivism in two ways. Firstly, you replaced your individual desire for dynamic change with the desire for interpersonal dynamic change between colleagues. Simply put, you have demonstrated that your goal is that you want to strengthen the collective by giving both the context and the reason for the dynamic change. Secondly, you have given them the opportunity to be autonomous and to lead that change and to trust their competence that they can. By meeting them in the middle, you have bridged the dialectic, and leadership becomes the outcome of your shared interactions rather than a top-down command. I want to emphasize that when considering the Boyatzis five-step process of creating the ideal self as a conductor, number 5 is key. Developing, supporting, and trusting relationships that make change possible. When you act as a collaborator, you are practicing your ideal self, the resonant leader who uses supportive relationships to make artistic change possible. This scenario is an example of that on the podium. And you will find that this kind of nuanced approach to collaboration will also be key off the podium, in the committees, with the audience, in the boardroom, and especially with your orchestra's community, where resonant leadership can transform short-term collaborations into long-term alliances. When we lead by meeting our musicians on that bridge, in a shared space of mutual trust, we cease to be mere directors of sound, and instead become the heartbeat truly resonant collective.